Hello everyone, I'm Mr. Kutraki. This is your expectations video. We're going to go through the expectations for Intro to Calculus. So we're going to take the time to actually read through this whole Intro to Calculus sheet. Expectations, Intro to Calculus. Westford Academy mission statement. This is the mission statement for Westford Academy, written a few years ago. Westford Academy, in collaboration with the home and community, provides a safe environment where high expectations advance academic excellence. We are committed to promoting integrity and critical thinking while fostering tolerance and a lifelong learning in an ever-changing global society. So that's the Westford Academy mission statement. We also have a Westford Academy honor code. Most students and even a lot of faculty are not aware of this. This is something that is near and dear to my heart. I was one of the co-authors of this honor code. As a member of the Westford Academy community, I will not lie, cheat, or steal, nor will I condone or enable those who do so. That's very straightforward. The tricky part here is the last part. Nor will I lie, nor will I condone those who do so. I will not lie, cheat, or steal. That's very easy. It's straightforward. It's black and white. There's no questions or ambiguity there. It's this last part, nor will I condone or enable those who do so. That is the very difficult piece. It means if somebody asks to borrow their homework, asks you to borrow their homework so that they can copy it, you are to say no. That would be condoning or enabling. If you are in the middle of a test, you can't look at somebody else's test. That's easy. That's obvious. That's you cheating. But if somebody's looking at your test and you're not making any sort of an effort to keep your test private or concealed, then you are enabling and you are just as culpable. We have had students here in the past get in trouble on final exams for that exact reason, where we will be doing something new this year and trying some online assessments. This honor code still applies. I will not lie, cheat, or steal, nor will I condone or enable those who do so. Means you're not going to be sharing any of your answers or results from your online tests with any of your classmates. Preparation. All students are to come to class with the following materials: writing utensil, scientific calculator. It's going to be scientific because it says scientific on it, but it's also going to have sine, cosine, and tangent on it. We're going to need that. And you're going to have your laptop. Whether you are at home or in person, you're going to need to have your Chromebooks with you at all times. We are going to be using them quite often this year. Homework. Homework will be assigned 2 or 3 times a week and will be checked during the next assessment. Students are expected to spend up to 30 minutes completing homework assignments per night. Homework is checked and graded on effort, not on the number of correct answers. Each homework assignment is worth up to 2 points. I use a points system, and I will explain what that means in a minute. Questions on homework problems may be asked at the beginning of class or during the afternoon session. So if you are Pod A in person, Pod B, you're going to also be with us, but you're going to be online. You'll be watching us through the Google Meet and interacting with us that way. In the afternoon, Pod B is mandatory to come for the 30-minute session, but Pod A, you are welcome to join us if you like to ask any questions that you didn't have time to get answered during the morning session. So that is acceptable for any students, Pod A or B, to come in the 30-minute afternoon session to ask questions. Quizzes. Quizzes will usually be announced a week or 2 in advance. They're actually going to be announced 2, maybe even 3 weeks in advance. If you look at our online plan book, which I have a linked video for you to go look and watch, you will know exactly on what day we're going to be having assessments. They will cover material from a few sections of the book. Each question will be worth 4 points. Partial credit will be given on problems when a legitimate effort and work are shown. Quizzes will be corrected and graded on the number of points received out of the total number of points possible. Quizzes are never scaled. So let's get back to that points piece. Every question on a quiz is a 4-point question. Whether it's an easy one or a tricky one, they're all going to be 4-point questions. I have a balance of relatively easy, relatively hard questions on all quizzes and tests so that the points being balanced works out. I have in the past made harder questions worth more points and easier questions worth less points, but in the end it just worked out to be, the quiz worked out to be X number of points, and if I had just divided by the number of problems, almost always works out to be every question's a 4-point question. So every question from here on out for the rest of the year is a 4-point question. Your homeworks are 2 points each. Completing skeleton notes, that's worth 2 points, and completing the homeworks, the book problems, that's worth another 2 points. Total of 4 points for each section of the book. So combined, one homework, skeleton notes, and book work will be worth one quiz question, one assessment question. We're just going to keep accumulating points as the year goes on. I'm going to pause the video right now, pull up a different camera, and I'm going to show you what an example of why I like the points system. So here's an example of why I use points and not average of percentage grades. So imagine that these are 6 assessment grades for a student. Student got a 90, a 96, a 92, an 88, a 64, and a 90. 2 things to illustrate here. One, student might say, well, this person had a bad day, right? So we should drop this grade. I don't drop grades, because imagine that the same student or a different student had this for grades: 64, 68. Let's go with a 66. 92, a 62, and a 60. So different student. Clearly this student had a good day. We should probably drop that grade as well, for the same reason why we're dropping this grade here, because this student had a bad day, this student had a good day. We should drop those outlier grades. We're not going to drop this one. We're not going to drop this one. We're not dropping any grades. You earn what you earn. But this student, if I look at these grades, this student is an A- student. They're probably a 90 student. Okay? But if you do the average of these grades, figure out the average of these grades, X bar means average. They're an 87 student. Suddenly they're B plus. They're not even a B, they're B. 86.6 repeating. Okay? That's not a great representation of this student. Now, let's take a look at same student, but we're using points instead. Okay, so same student. And what I've done is I've actually taken, so a 90 is obviously a 90 out of 100. Okay, but so this was every question's worth 4 points. So this was a 25 question assessment, right? 81 out of 84 is about a 96. It's like a 95 point something. 74 out of 80 is like a 92. 106 out of 120 is an 88. 13 out of 20 is a 64. And 90 out of 100 is obviously a 90. Okay, so in a points system, you add up the denominators, and we get 504. Add up the numerators, and you get 454. Okay, what is the difference here? Well, this 64 was only a 5-question quiz. It was really short. This 5-question quiz shouldn't be worth the same as this major test, which has a lot more points in it. It's not weighted the same. The points equal them out for us. This 454 divided by 504, that's a 90.1%, which is what we said this student should be. This student should be a 90 student, and the points work it out that way. Now, this system's not perfect. It's not a miracle worker. It's not just going to give you an A. Imagine that this was a very small quiz and this was the big test. Now, if this is the big test, it's going to pull down your grade. Okay, in the point system. If this one was the one that was out of 120 points and this is the one that was out of only 20 points, then then your percent is going to drop quite a bit. Okay, but in general, the point system is a much more fair system. Okay, that's homework and quizzes. Tests are the same, just another assessment. Tests will be given at the end of each chapter. Tests will be announced approximately a week in advance. And again, that's on the short side. I'm going to be announced a lot further in advance with the online plan book. Tests will cover material from class lectures, homeworks, quizzes. Each question will be worth full points again. We use a full point scale for everything. Partial credit will be given on problems when a legitimate effort and work are shown. Tests will be corrected and graded on the number of points received out of the total number of points possible. Test grades are never scaled. Class participation. Class participation is made up of your attitude and effort in class. Class participation also includes conduct in class and online. So that includes when you are in the Google Zoom meet, on the Google Meet. Your behavior in that meeting is just the same as if you were in class. Or your conduct has to be school conduct at all times, school appropriate conduct at all times. Students will demonstrate proper conduct at all times. All students will be expected to abide by the digital citizenship contract. Now, you are signing that contract digitally in your home rooms. In the first week or two of school. Failure to do so will result in a teacher detention. Continued misconduct will result in the student being sent to the dean's office, and when necessary, a call being made to the parents or legal guardian. Extra help. Extra help is given by appointment from 1:40 to 1:55, Monday through Friday. So, if your questions were not answered in the morning session or the 30-minute afternoon session, and you still have questions, you need to let me know. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to find I won't be able to find you. I'm not going to be looking. You're going to let me know that you need some extra help. So we're going to go between 1:40 and 1:55. You must inform me ahead of time that you are planning to log in, and you're going to use the Google Meet code Quattrocchi Extra Help. Grading policy for report cards. Students' grades will be calculated on the total number of points earned out of the total number of possible points on homework, quizzes, and tests in the term. And I've already given you an example of why that is. Technology. All course materials will be posted on Google Classroom. I have made a Google Classroom video, which I haven't linked it here, but this will be an active link here as soon as this video is done. And you will find the materials in Planbook too. I have the link here. If you click on this, boom, it'll bring you to the how to use our online Planbook video. So weeks before any due dates. So those things are going to be posted long before they're due. Students will be using their Chromebooks every day in class. Therefore, they must be charged before each class. Masks. This is a new section this year. Masks will be worn at all times during in-person classes. Students are encouraged to take their passing time as a mask break outside of the building at their own discretion. So you have 10 minutes between each classes. You are allowed to go outside during that passing time and take a mask break. If a mask break is needed during class, students will ask for permission to leave to go to a mask break designated interior areas, which are in the flag lobby, the bell lobby, or I believe you are allowed to go outdoors during class to take your mask off. Seats. Students will sit in the assigned seats at all times. The desks are already put 6 feet apart, and you will have to stay in your desk during the entire class. Google Meet expectations, another new section in the expectations. All remote students, both RLA and Pod A, Pod B, depending on the week, will join the synchronous live classroom presentation in the morning via Google Meet by clicking on the Meet link in Google Classroom. Again, when you click on the Google Classroom, how to use Google Classroom tutorial video that I've created, you'll see where that meeting link is. Depending on the week, Pod A or B students will also be required to join the Google Meet in the afternoon. So if it's Pod A week, Pod B students are going to be in the afternoon for the 30 minutes. Pod A students, you're welcome to join us, but you are not required to. And vice versa in the next week. Students will mute themselves unless called on by the teacher. As you're entering into the meeting, already have yourself muted. To ask a question, click on the hand raise button. There's a hand raise button in the Google Meet section, or type in the question into the chat. My plan is to have somebody monitoring the chat, and they will be informing me in case I do not see the question in the chat. They'll let me know that somebody has a question. It is recommended that students have earbuds or headset with a microphone. The microphone on those are much better than the microphone on your Chromebook. They're not quite as good as this microphone is, but that's pretty good. This is a very good microphone, but the ones on the Apple AirPods or earbuds, or even gaming headsets, those are pretty good microphones as well. No one will record any Google meeting without permission. I'm not going to record you without your permission. You're not going to record me without my permission. The course on which you are about to begin is one that I hope you will find fun, exciting, and powerful, and I wish you well on the year's journey. And that is our expectations for Intro to Calculus. Welcome to the class, girls and boys. Thank you. Bye.